Bonjour et bienvenue en tête-à-tête.
Hello and welcome to Tête-à-Tête, France 24's flagship interview show. Our guest is Massoud Barzani. He is the president of the Democratic Party of Kurdistan, the former president of the autonomous region of Kurdistan in Iraq. Thank you very much.
Merci d'être avec nous.
Hello.
Bonjour.
Thank you also for this opportunity.
Monsieur Barzani,
Mr. Barzani, I want to begin with the situation in Syria. Since the arrival of the new authorities, we've seen an uptick in violence against minorities, the Alawites, the Druze, but also the Kurds. Back in March, there was an agreement signed between the head of the Democratic Forces of Syria and the main Kurdish party, Massoud Abdi, and Ahmed al-Sharaa, the interim president, to integrate the military and civilian institutions of this region to the central government. However, this agreement is not implemented. Are you feeling more violence and even a civil war?
Without a doubt, a change in the regime in Syria will be a solution for a number of problems in Syria. We have put in a great amount of effort to ensure Kurdish unity and reach peace. We have supported Syrian Kurds. I met with Massoud Abdi, and I also supported the agreement signed between Ahmed al-Sharaa and Massoud Abdi. Recently, we have concerns that the situation may escalate. However, we are convinced that we must not lose sight of peace. My greatest fear is that there is some form of intervention which will trigger a war between the Kurdish people and the Arab people. It is my greatest fear, and we are doing everything to avoid that. We must resolve problems. We mustn't focus on war because war is not a solution. In my opinion, the new powers to be must take into account all components that make up our country. They must take into account all of the components and everything which makes them different and unique.
You say you're concerned about foreign intervention. Let's speak clearly. Turkey has threatened the Democratic Forces of Syria of a military action. They are saying this group doesn't want this agreement with the central government. They've also been accused by Turkey of being pawns of Israel. You have very good relations with the Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. Are you asking him not to intervene militarily, and do you think he will listen to you?
Quite naturally, there are things that we need to work through with Turkey and with President Erdogan. The Turkish do support a peaceful process. They also supported the agreement back in March, as did we. Together, we have tried to ensure that the agreement is properly implemented, but there are certain difficulties, and it's not an easy way forward.
Can you tell us whether you are opposed to a Turkish military intervention in Syria against this group?
I don't believe that these groups are against Turkish interests. Turkish leaders have expressed their desire to reach a resolution and for the fate of the Kurdish people to be clearer and to avoid an escalation.
Speaking of Turkey, there was a major development recently, the decision by the PKK to disarm and disband. Is this a crucial turning point that also has an impact in your region because this is where their disarmament is taking place? Is this really happening?
First and foremost, I would like to say that we are doing our utmost to support the peace process. What is different this time is the peace process in itself. from the government, from the parliament, and also from public opinion in Turkey, we are seeing that everyone is in favor of a peace process. This is a fundamental change. The Kurdish people within the PKK, the majority of them support peace and support the process. This is what we have been hoping for. Even before the process started, Abdullah Öcalan sent out a delegation to meet with me. We were able to talk about our support, our official support for the peace process. And everything that was asked of us was done. We are going to continue doing so, and we hope that the process will bring about peace, and it will be a real change in the entire region.
I heard the PKK leader Abdullah Öcalan, who's currently in jail, has invited you to visit him. Is it true? Are you going to visit him? And do you think that to help this process, Öcalan should be set free?
I certainly hope I will be able to meet with him, but outside the prison.
Have you asked Turkish President Erdogan to free him?
I have not met with him recently. But I do feel that that will be an outcome of the peace process, him being set free.
Let's turn to Iraq now. Once again, U.S. troops are going to withdraw. The plan is for them to withdraw from the rest of Iraq by the end of 2025 and from your region in Kurdistan at the end of 2026. Do you fear that this could create a vacuum? We all remember what happened last time the U.S. troops withdrew, ISIS, of course. Do you have the same fears, or is it totally different now?
There is no doubt. If the American and coalition forces withdraw, then we will be faced with the same scenario of what happened back in 2012. Daesh will rise again.
Given what you just said, have you asked the Trump administration not to withdraw the troops by the end of next year? And do you think they will listen to you?
I don't believe that there will be a total withdrawal of forces. We have always said that our country needs American and coalition forces. The reason for that is because Daesh is a very present danger, and we said quite officially that this is our position, it is part of our policy.
In your region, there have been numerous strikes, especially from drones in the month of July. A member of your party, a prominent member, al-Sharaa, is accusing the central government in Baghdad of knowing who is behind those attacks, but not daring to say so publicly. Do you agree with him? And who, according to you, is behind those attacks?
There was a joint inquiry committee put in place between Erbil and Baghdad. The inquiry was to look into where the drones came from. The plan is for the outcomes of that inquiry to be made public in due course. I do not want to comment or to give any detail about the report now before it is made public.
Well, we heard lots of officials from the Kurdish government accuse the paramilitary forces of the al-Sharaa, allied with Iran, to be behind those attacks. This has been said publicly. Is this also what you think? We know that there have been a number of interventions by those forces in your region in the past.
Granted, there are certain known parties, but we are not accusing all people from the popular movements. There are some specific groups that are being looked into, but again, before the report is officially disclosed, I don't want to comment on any specific details. Aside from that, all is clear.
Les relations entre Erbil et
The
Bagdad
relations
sont
between
difficiles
Erbil and
depuis
Baghdad have been
des années. Il y a eu une dispute
complicated for years. There was recently a dispute. In May, the central government suspended financial transfer and especially the payment of salaries to civil servants. It seems there was an agreement on this and also on the possibility to export oil. Is this a real agreement, or is there still a problem? And more fundamentally, no trust between Erbil and Baghdad.
Unfortunately, there are challenges that lie ahead. We need to be honest about that. That said, if there is true willingness to work through the issues, we will be able to succeed. We have a constitution which is a roadmap for us and for Baghdad. We aren't asking for any more than what is already in the constitution. However, we will not allow the constitution to be violated. What we wish for is for the constitution to be upheld. There is also the problem of recognition of the federal system. It is a current problem where Baghdad fails to recognize federalism.
In your region, parliamentary elections were held last October. However, Parliament has not convened since. No new government was formed. Are you concerned about this paralysis?
It is true. It is unfortunate. We are not very happy with this situation. We hope that come September, or in the coming days, Parliament will be able to meet again to start a new session and form a government.
Massoud
Barzani, thank you very much for being our guest, and thank you all for watching this edition of Tête à Tête here on France 24.
sur nos antennes.
Thank you very much.
Merci beaucoup.
Merci.